And I'm Avery Davidson. Thank you for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture, the only TV show bringing Louisiana farmers and consumers together every week.
This past week, the House voted down the latest version of the Farm Bill, 198 to 213. The vote was largely on party lines, but the Freedom Caucus used its votes against the Farm Bill in an effort to push a vote on unrelated immigration reform.
It's now looking like the House will try again to pass the Farm Bill on June 22nd, or maybe even before that. That will be after a vote on immigration. All of that uncertainty, though, has an effect here at home. This week, Twila's Neil Melanson speaks with a farmer who grows many of the commodities that could be affected.
My family started farming in this area right after the Civil War.
It takes driving in a truck to get through all of Jim Harper's family farm in Cheneyville. The 6,800 acres of sugarcane, rice, and soybeans is a lot to manage, but with the help of his brothers, Jim is getting the job done. Sugarcane is the biggest crop here for Harper Farms.
This cane has fairly well stubbled out. The primary shoots have come up, and all these little stalks have come up from the base of the plant. So it's pretty well got the population it's going to have now for the rest of the year.
Of course, soybeans are also a big part of Harper Farms. They take careful monitoring, not just because they're still sprouting, but because the price on the market for them is right at the break-even point. It's a similar situation for Jim's rice as well, and one thing that connects all three crops is it's dry here at Harper Farms, and they all could use some rain.
We're losing at least 1/4 of an inch of water a day to evaporation in 90-degree weather.
The summer days are definitely heating up, and it's not just the temperature.
Now, I can definitely back up what Jim was saying. It is definitely a very hot day here in Louisiana, and it's got to be having an evaporative effect on the water in the rice field here behind me. Now, one thing is, as this summer goes along and we don't have a farm bill, that could definitely have an evaporative effect on farming as a whole here in Louisiana.
Jim says the farm bill is not just for his crops, but for everyone who eats.
Because the farm bill is really a consumer bill. It gives the consumer a plentiful supply of food at a reasonable price, and it's also the safest food in the world.
Jim may be dependent upon the markets and farm policy to keep his farm going, but we're all dependent on people like Jim to keep us going. In Rapides Parish, I'm Neil Melanson for This Week in Louisiana Agriculture.
Jim Harper has been an active member of the Louisiana Farm Bureau for 35 years and currently serves as first vice president of the State Board of Directors. You heard Neil say he was a sixth-generation farmer. Harper Farms was established just after the Civil War. When you eat your favorite sandwich or pasta dish, do you ever stop to think about how that wheat gets to your plate or to your hands right before you take that bite?
I don't know, but it's delicious. Farmers only harvested 13,000 acres of wheat in Louisiana in 2017. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, Louisiana has not seen wheat acreage that low since 1955. This week, Twila's Carl Wiggers found one farmer in Catahoula Parish who has turned one of his favorite conservation practices into a cash crop.
We have 200 acres of wheat this year. I planted it initially with the idea of cover crop and had no intention of carrying it to harvest. We thought it looked so good the later in the year it got, and because of the market price kept climbing, we decided to fertilize it and carry it to harvest. I am not looking to make a quick buck. Of course, with the way our economy is in agriculture now, it costs a lot of money to grow anything. So yeah, we're under a lot of pressure to make money just so we can keep going, just so we can keep enjoying this lifestyle. But ultimately our goal is to be good stewards of the land, to improve the soil health, and to make sure that this place or this land is beneficial to the next farmer or the next generation. You know, if my children end up farming this place, I want them to know or to be able to take pride in the fact that their father, you know, was a good steward of the land, and that's the reason we have this excellent farmland. I take enormous pride in what I say is good stewardship. I just started scribbling or adding on my calculator on my phone what the market would be, or the market price versus what some potential yields would be, just by looking at it from my experience with wheat. And you know how it goes. You look at it and say, oh, that's 20 bushels, that's 30 bushels, that's 40 bushels. You know, even at 20 bushels, we're still making a little bit of money on this. And since we were delayed in planting the rest of our full season beans, I figured why not carry it out, see what we can make, and you know, fall right in there and double crop it. So far, we're probably right above 40 bushels, which, you know, I'm happy with. So again, it's anything would be lagniappe for us. You know, we're through with it.
Barton says with today's wheat markets, he plans to have every acre of his farm covered in wheat this winter, and he will grow it all as a cash crop from day one.
As we mentioned earlier, the Farm Bill became something of a political football in the House of Representatives recently, but that's nothing new.
Both parties often have held the farm portion of the Farm Bill hostage as they negotiate over how much will go into SNAP benefits. That's a supplemental nutrition program formerly known as food stamps. The Senate will pass its own version, but it will likely look much different from the House version. The House is expected to vote again in late June, but it might not matter. Kyle McCann, the Associate Commodity Director for the Louisiana Farm Bureau, says the contents of the Farm Bill were not the issue.
When considering the Farm Bill, there were some very negative amendments that did get voted upon. However, all of those were defeated. So as the Farm Bill stands, there weren't any more issues related to should we change this or that. It will strictly be a vote on reconsideration of the bill. It appeared that everyone was in place and supportive of the Farm Bill, but it just got held hostage on this immigration issue, a totally separate issue altogether.
On the state level, the legislature did pass a budget, but Governor John Bel Edwards vetoed it. In order to address the budget shortfall of about $600 million, the regular session ended 2 weeks early so that legislators could go into a special session. This is the second special session of 2018, and there's no indication of what might get cut in a new budget. For an update on state politics from the Louisiana Farm Bureau's lobbyist, Joe Mapes, head over to our website at twilatv.org.
You know, these kind of stories, they always kind of get to me. They make me want to speak my mind, Kristen. So if you don't mind.
I feel like you're going to tell me.
Yeah. So if you'll excuse me, I'm going to get right here because this is where my soapbox is, because I got to share some thoughts. We've just brought you 3 stories about the state of agriculture in Louisiana and across America. Just a couple of weeks ago, we brought you a story about how the farmer's share of your food dollar is at an all-time low, 14.8 cents. Because of low commodity prices, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is predicting that farm income will drop another 6.7% this year. That's going to make it the lowest since 2006. You hear us say almost every week that you should thank a farmer for the life you live, to be able to do whatever job you want to do rather than worry about where you get your next meal. We have it good. We have it really good. But right now, your farmer does not. America has the cheapest, safest, most abundant supply of food in the world. Louisiana doubly so because our food is so darn good. So when we bring you stories about Congress not passing a farm bill, or the state legislature cutting budgets for the Southern and LSU Ag Centers or the Department of Ag and Forestry, that's a call for you to act. That's when you should contact your legislator, your congressman, your senator, and ask them to support agriculture. Remember, you have the power every election cycle when you go in the booth. You can make a difference. Okay, I'm going to step back this way, come off of my soapbox, Kristen, and put my anchor hat back on, but it drives me nuts whenever we cover these stories over and over again, and it seems to be like when the Farm Bill becomes a political football, that just gets me upset.
Oh, I agree. It's half of my family's income, and it's even more discouraging to know that farmers are also having to be their own PR spokespeople to say why their food is safe and healthy and good for consumers. So that's another battle that feels like it's always an uphill battle in this industry.
Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the show, too. The Louisiana Department of Ag and Forestry recently gave more than 900 farmers and ranchers in 51 parishes money to help pay for losses from the 2016 floods.
In this special feature from our friends at the Department of Ag and Forestry, we show you how the state recently began disseminating that funding.
The recovery money we have today is from the great floods of 2016. where we had 15 to 28 inches of rain in a 24-hour period in a concentrated area. And there's nothing you can do to prevent flooding when you get that much rain all of a sudden.
The rain started about 7 o'clock. If I recall right, it was on a Friday. And it started about 7 o'clock, and by night everybody went to bed. And by Saturday morning, I'm early bird. I got up early and got dressed, and I'm going on the farm to do this, to do that. When I presented, opened my front door, and to put my foot on the step, I was like, wow, what is this? And it's just, water was just everywhere.
What this recovery money is for is for those uninsured losses. And if you look at a typical farm policy, if you look at a typical 60% policy, if you had 1,000 acres and you harvested 600 acres and you're getting ready for that other 400 acres, right? Storm hits, you lose that 400 acres. Do you know what your crop insurance payment is? It's nothing, it's zero, because you harvested 60% already. And so you have a total loss on that 400 acres. This allows the farmers to replant. This allows the farmers, to pay for the seed, and it's about the next crop, getting them back in business, keeping them in business.
Being a farmer is a hard life, it's hard work, and it's just tough and a lot of gambling. Just one of those things, and farmers is the backbone of the world.
Appreciate everything you did right here for farmers.
It helps us a lot, and all the farmers would have liked had more, but we understand that the economy is not there. So anything that we can help get, we greatly appreciate it. What Commissioner Shane and Governor Edwards did for us, it was fantastic for the farmers.
And when you see John Bell, tell him thank you. He helped. He did. We would like to have had more money. This is what we've had, but you can see we have over 900 farmers are receiving funds again to get them back and keep them in business, so that we can keep our communities in business and protect the state's economy.
This is something that, you're not going to never recover. Every time you think about it, it's a very hurting thing in your mind and in your heart. Because you lost a lot of stuff, and you're never going to get that back. But y'all trying to help, and we appreciate the help.
The LSU Ag Center has estimated the total agricultural damage from the 2016 flooding at more than $110 million. Well, New Orleans remains an important port when it comes to bringing coffee into the United States. In 1802, 1,400 bags of coffee arrived at the port of New Orleans. 50 years later, that increased to more than 500,000 bags.
Yeah, much of that coffee made its way further upriver to Baton Rouge. Premier coffee roaster River Road Coffees has been blending and roasting coffee beans from other countries for 21 years. Now the company has its special Roastmaster Select Coffees of Origin whole bean coffees, which serve as the single barrel whiskey of Java.
AM Baton Rouge 941.
Starting your day listening to talk radio can get you going, as does a cup of this. And Kevin Gallagher and Bill Profita from Baton Rouge radio station Talk 107.3, while working the morning show, they know a thing or two about coffee, but not as much as this guy. Ian Malassaw is the roast master at River Road Coffees. He and the workers here roast each batch of River Road coffee 25 pounds at a time.
Between this and this is probably about a 15-second time difference.
That's why keeping an eye on temperature and color can make all the difference in the flavor. What's in the roaster on this day is a blend of Central and South American coffees, what most people like Kevin and Bill usually have in their cup. But Malassaw likes the more exotic coffees.
This is our Ethiopian Sidamo bean. It's a fine quality bean. You can see they're all totally uniform. And this is gonna have a winey, floral, berry type of flavor to it. Very different than the coffee we're used to around in Louisiana.
Which is why Malassaw and River Road Coffees is now offering the Roastmaster Select Coffees of Origin.
I've been doing it for myself for 10 years. And now I think we're ready to bring it out to Baton Rouge at large.
The beans inside each black bag come from a single country listed on the label: Ethiopia Sidamo, Indonesia Sumatra, Kenya, and Guatemala.
We see this third wave coming through the coffee industry, and we thought that maybe it was another opportunity to see if the masses were ready for this, see if Baton Rouge was ready for the differentiated flavors.
Back at the radio station, Malasan gives Kevin and Bill a taste of the Indonesia Sumatra.
Wow, this has got some serious stuff with it.
See, that's very full-body coffee. I like that.
Yeah, it's got a very nice flavor profile. And again, I'm somebody who puts stuff in my coffee. I know that's heresy. You know,
When you're talking about coffee like this, you certainly are.
Yeah, but I don't need any stuff in this coffee.
Next up, the Ethiopian Sidamo.
It's almost got like a floweriness to it. It's much lighter. It's a lighter brew.
And I could see this brewed down thick and being an espresso. I could see
absolutely.
it. It's got that fullness to it.
As with everything in radio, time is tight, so Malasan can only fit one more tasting in.
Ian, what is this again?
This is our Guatemalan. Yeah, it is an excellent coffee, well balanced. I think everyone would really love it.
Back at the roaster, the beans pop as they cool. For Malasan, the reward for keeping the batches small and the time spent checking the color over and over again is seeing someone enjoy his coffee.
Having someone taste something that I've made and really, you know, their eyes light up, their eyebrows go up, and they go, wow, this is really interesting.
You can find Roastmaster Select Coffees of Origin at grocery stores across South Louisiana. Oh, you're not in South Louisiana, you say, Kristen. Well, that's what the internet is for. You can order River Road coffees online. We'll put a link on our website at twilatv.org so you can do just that. And I can tell you now, those coffees of origin, excelente.
I remember my first River Road coffee
story. I remember when you did that story, and it is still on their website.
That was a long time ago. I'm flattered.
Still to come on Twila, some furry masked bandits take over our Twila booths.
But first, we'll learn about a growing sector of Louisiana agriculture. Stay with us.
I now hope they're fighting today.
I hope they are.
Find your place in the country and the lender who can get you there. Find Louisiana Land Bank. Financing for country homes, recreational property, farms and ranches, and agribusiness.
Before you sweeten your morning joe, before the icing on the cake, before the sugar hits the shelf, it begins with a family of sugarcane farmers dedicated to growing Louisiana for more than 220 years. The Sugarcane Growers of Louisiana, making life sweeter, naturally.
Sugarcane, sweet sugarcane.
Landowners are minding the Louisiana forest for our grandchildren. A place for wildlife, recreation, lumber for homes. It's the right thing to do. Forestry, covering half our state, all of our hearts.
Farming is my way of life. I chose this career, but farming chose me.
A lot of people ask you what you do, and I tell them I'm a farmer.
I'm a cattleman.
I am a fisherman.
I'm a scientist.
I'm a steward of the land.
I am a farm woman.
I am Farm Bureau.
I am Farm Bureau.
I am Farm Bureau.
I am Farm Bureau.
I'm a Farm Bureau.
Farmers in Louisiana grow at least 31 different vegetable crops, at least those that are reported to the LSU Ag Center for its annual Ag Summary. I have a feeling that number is going to go up as practical research drew dozens of produce farmers to the Louisiana Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association Farm Tour.
As Twila's AJ Sabine shows us, consumer interest in this vibrant ag sector is heating up.
And the last time what it was planted in was cabbage.
At Faust Farms, just east of A-Meat, Natalie Faust shows off her latest venture, hydroponic lettuce. From the rich colors of red leaf to the bright green of her bib varieties, Natalie says tours like this can further the education of growers who have an interest in raising their own produce.
They can see where our local produce comes from. So when they're in the grocery stores, they can look at a label and go, oh my gosh, I visited that farm over in Amite, or I visited that farm over in North Louisiana, and so they can know that they're getting a really fresh product that's grown right here at home.
Faust explains how the family expanded its 60-acre farm into strawberries, bell peppers, and lettuce. Faust Farms markets its produce to several restaurants in New Orleans, which is exciting news for Second Harvest Produce Coordinator, Kristen Wesley.
Yeah, I'm new to the area, so I want to see what's going on with produce. When people are donating, we want to know exactly what it looks like, so I know what I'm looking at whenever I'm sourcing, gleaning through everything.
Knowing quality when you see it is only part of the value of this tour, according to LFVGA Secretary Kiki Fontenot.
The Louisiana Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association and the LSU Ag Center, we love to put these tours on for networking purposes. This is a great way for farmers to meet one another. In the vegetable business, we have a handful of growers who are self-sufficient, huge number of acres, can do everything on their own, and a lot of people who might run short of tomatoes early in the season or have a plethora of cucumbers or whatnot. And when you come to these kind of events, you get to meet other growers doing the same thing as yourself.
This land was previously used for dairy.
Doing it yourself lay at the heart of the Poche family farm near Independence, Louisiana. No pun intended. Camille Poche, along with her mother Cherise, explained how high tunnel production has grown their bottom line, an improvement which has allowed this small family-run farm to compete in the valuable restaurant market down in the Big Easy.
And you can tell the difference. When you go to these restaurants, it's been some of the best meals I've ever eaten. I've recommended it to friends, customers that buy from us. They're curious, where else do you sell your produce? I tell them, go to this restaurant. And they go, they love it, they send their friends there. It's kind of this nice symbiotic relationship, and it's great for both of us.
Near the end of the tour, participants had the opportunity to tour the olive tree and tea research at the Hammond Research Station. If you would like more information about the Louisiana Fruit and Vegetable Growers Association, you can log on to our website at twilatv.org. Well, as AJ used to say, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Christmas?
No, the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation's annual meeting.
You are right. It's less than 1 month away, and the final preparations are almost done. The 96th annual meeting of the Louisiana Farm Bureau Federation is set for June 21st through the 24th at the New Orleans Marriott on Canal Street. The great thing about the Farm Bureau Convention is it's family-friendly, with about 1,500 farmers, ranchers, and their families coming together for a chance to recognize the parish farm bureaus for their accomplishments, individual young farmers and ranchers for success, and to see the children excel in the Talent and Queens contests. There's also going to be an extra bit of fun this year. Farm Bureau Friday night, a party in the lobby with food, music, and every excuse you need to pass a good time. And also we'll have the Farm Babe, Michelle Miller, speaking at our convention.
She will be there. And we'll also be sharing your Louisiana Farm Proud post again this year for a chance to win some great prizes. We want you to show us why you are Louisiana Farm Proud. Send us a video from your farm showing us why you're proud to be involved in Louisiana agriculture. You can share your Farm Proud moments with us on social media with the hashtag LAFarmProud, but make sure your account is not set to private so we can see it, or you can email them to us at louisianafarmproud@gmail.com.
To learn more about the 96th annual meeting of the Louisiana Farm Bureau, visit our website at twilatv.org. Still to come on Twila. Kristen, are there any videos of cute animals online?
Only 1 or 2 every minute. Allie will show us a couple of her favorites when we come back. Stay with us.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Louisiana oysters, salty, sweet, and delicious.
But have you ever thought about what happens to all those oyster shells? Most of them end up in trash cans and landfills. The Coalition to Restore Coastal Louisiana is changing this with its oyster shell recycling program, and you can help by visiting these participating restaurants. It's a simple and delicious way to restore our coast. The shells will then be used to sustain and rebuild oyster reefs. Remember, once you shuck them, don't just chuck them.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
That's low, that's low. That's low. Look, he's blushing. Seriously.
I think it's time that we have a Twila boost to close our show this week.
You know, Kristen, I could not agree more. And since she did such a great job last week, we're going to enlist the help of our Twila turn, Allie Dowies. That was my Twila turn camera turn. Thank you for gracing us with your royal presence again.
It's my honor, Avery.
Who says the royalty is in England? It's right here in the Twila studio.
Well, who doesn't love a good goat farm animal video? Videos with funny animals are always a hit on social media. And I think we found 2 winners this week. I guarantee you the clips will brighten your day and leave you with a smile. Our first video comes to us from the Lovely Pets Facebook titled, "Baby Donkeys Are So Underrated." And that they are. This little guy looks like he's really loving life here, just running circles in the pastures with his other donkey pals.
Now our next clip is one of my personal favorites. I love, love, love any and all videos with wild rescue animals. And raccoon videos always garner a click from me. This little raccoon is really enjoying his car ride in the back seat with the window down, trying to catch some raindrops in his mouth. Now how funny is that? I could watch this thing all day long, and I just love, 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 love me some animal videos.
See, that just made me think of Rocket from Guardians of the Galaxy. I love that little raccoon character, so.
Haven't seen it, but I do love any raccoon videos.
Well, if you want to watch any of those videos, all you have to do is go over to our website at twilatv.org. And Allie, thank you so much for joining us again.
Thank you. Well, that does it for this edition of Twila. Be sure to join us next week when we'll be introducing you to our 2018 Young Farmers and Ranchers Achievement Award finalists.
One of them will be a big winner at our convention in June. Until then, you can watch all of our stories online at twilatv.org, and be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
For all of us here at Twila, thanks for joining us. We hope to see you again right here next week.